Hey, you all right?
Yeah, doctor's appointment for later, so I'll be all right.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Library.
What's going on with you? Where are you at? Some co-working place?
This is basically co-working, free co-working.
Oh, cool.
Hi, Denise. Hi, Leroy.
Denise, good to see you again. Roy, good to see you.
Hopefully you can hear me today.
Hey, hey, we got
Okay.
audio. We got
Awesome.
audio.
Awesome.
So, Ange, I'm gonna let you have control. I gotta solve something for Carlos.
Okay. Got it. Jasmine, how are you?
I am fabulous. Thank you. And you?
I'm great. I am
Great.
great. I'm glad you're doing well also. We have a
Yes.
few more people coming in. Let them get in and then we will get started. A lot of note takers.
Just
Yesterday's call was so good. It was so great. I think everyone here was here yesterday. Yep, everyone here was here yesterday when we talked about goal setting and reviewing goals. And Jasmine, we took a look at your goals. So
yes.
part of what we want to do is continue that conversation as we start the year and thinking about goal setting and really coming up with the strategy and the process to put in place to ensure
That was really
that we
great to break
reach the
it
goal.
down. I had it all set up, but I didn't break it down as detailed as Ron broke it down. So, I understand your audience and you play to the audience which is your audience. That part I do understand, from past experience, but at the same time, the way he broke it out, using the iPhone, example, it's great, right? So now it
Really great.
allows, I want to, I don't want to take up everybody's time, but I want to get onto that LinkedIn group that you guys have.
Sure. Yep. Thank you for asking about that.
Yeah.
We have two LinkedIn groups. One is called Need a Speaker, and the other one is
Be a speaker.
Need a Speaker, Be a Speaker, and the
Yeah.
other one is called Be a Speaker. And I'm going to put it in the chat. So these are the two LinkedIn groups. So would love to have everyone to be a part of those groups as well.
And you just basically log on and ask to join, and that's it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think I tried the bottom one and be a speaker, and it didn't work for me. I don't know why. I logged on.
You weren't allowed to go in to the group?
Well, it was telling me
you weren't admitted?
it told me it couldn't find the page, but I mean, knowing me,
Let me double check the link.
Pardon me?
So let me double check the link to make sure we have the right one, and then I'll make sure it's in the chat.
Yeah, because I'm just starting to really build up my profile on LinkedIn, so I wanted to accelerate. So you guys go on there and follow me. Because I realize a lot of the people that are reaching out, I know they do go on my LinkedIn. I probably said, you only have that many in LinkedIn, but that, I mean, being a realtor, we hide from social media back then because you're like targets. You're either stalked or followed or it's crazy. So we hid from social media, to tell the truth. Now you realize in this kind of business, you got to be out there. And I've been personally stalked literally for like years, right? So, now I'm building up my LinkedIn. I don't do too much on Instagram, Facebook,
Yes.
but I have YouTube, which I find, because YouTube, if you don't know, you can't find it, kind of thing. is
Mhm.
that thing that I feel safe in. I feel safe in building that
Sure.
YouTube speak. And a matter of fact is HRPA, Human Professional Association, asked me to do a learning hub on YouTube.
Okay,
And
great.
I'm enjoying that because I just, go shoot my videos and get on there and do my thing and I'm off.
Mhm.
So I want you guys to help me build my LinkedIn because these people that I'm podcasting are looking for me.
Yeah, so when you reach out and when people invite you on, that's a really great way to connect on LinkedIn. So one of the
Yes.
first things when thinking about the process of building the connections, one of the first things you can do is follow them on LinkedIn, send them a message, let them know how excited you are to be a part of their podcast.
Okay, good.
And it
Yes.
just takes time, like everything. It just takes time.
Yes. I realized that. I looked at my thing and says, girl, but they're saying you got a big talk, but I don't see anything happening on LinkedIn.
Well, I think the other side of it is that um, most people know that on social media you can have fake followers and fake friends and a lot of things like that. So I don't think that they look at the number of connections as much as they look at the quality of what you're doing, right?
Mhm.
So
Good to
I,
know.
I wouldn't be too worried about that. I would try to, you want to have as many connections as possible, but I don't think that someone's going to say we would have hired her, but she didn't have any friends on LinkedIn. Like
Mhm.
they're a knucklehead if they do something like that.
I
So,
know. Oh, I believe. I've always
so
wondered about that.
really quickly, Denise, we didn't get a chance for you to introduce yourself yesterday, so I want you to introduce yourself to be able to tell us a little bit about what you do and how we can help you.
Okay, let's see. Hopefully you guys can hear me.
Yep.
I'm
We can.
unfortunately not where I can turn my camera on, and I'm going to share this because probably it's kind of a part of my testimony. I was doing my goal setting yesterday and was so anxious to get on with you guys. And I was just randomly checking my blood pressure and it spiked. So I literally had to come off, go to urgent care. So I'm sitting here now in a hospital room, but I was determined to get on. I'm fine. They just did my MRI. But this morning, while I had a chance, I went back and looked at some of the replays, and you are giving gold. I'm going to say I spent $15,000 for like a master class.
Wow.
The gems that you are dropping, I've learned so much. So I'm in SpeakerHUB. I'm in the emerging package, and I saw one of your replays where you actually offered a lifetime offer. I'm wondering if you're going to do that again, because it's something I would want to do. And the other thing is just to say how excited I am. My goal is to have 10 speaking engagements this year because I do work full time. But I've been in ministry a very, very long time. So a lot of the strategies that you've been giving, I've pretty much taken advantage of. I just need an open door as a Christian author and speaker. I know I just said a whole lot, but yeah, it's been amazing the information you're sharing. I don't know that I've heard it as a communications major, not the way that you've given it. So I want to applaud you guys for that.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. That means a lot. We try to listen to you all first to understand what issues you're having, and then taking what we know and putting it in a frame where everybody can get it. And we never want to make anyone feel as if we're talking over their heads or it's impractical and nobody can do it. We follow one rule: if we haven't done it ourselves, we won't teach it to you. And I think that that sets a new standard for like the coaching industry, because a lot of people coach on theory and not on activity. And we only teach what we've actually done. So you're always welcome here to, over at SpeakerHUB. Whether you're a SpeakerHUB emerging user or not, even if you left and said, I don't want to deal with any of y'all software, but I still want to hang out with y'all, you're always welcome, because we just got to get more positive messages on stage. We do, you're on the call. We always like to give people great breaks, even though we took down the lifetime deal. You're on the
Yeah, I
call
checked the
today.
link
So
this morning.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I will have Angela send you the link privately in the chat
Okay.
here so that
Okay.
you can have access to that.
Thank
Um,
you so very kindly.
oh yeah,
Um,
coming to the meetings has its benefits. So,
okay.
um, we like to take care of those who are making an effort. There's a big difference between calling yourself a speaker and being a speaker, right?
For sure.
If I say I'm a professional basketball player, but you never see me in the gym, then I'm really a professional basketball player. I'm just calling myself that. So we're big fans of activity, I guess, action takers. One of my friends, his dad always calls them actioneers. He's like, the actioneers are the winners. And it's a great book if you want to read it. It's called Action Has No Season by Michael Victor Roberts. And Michael and
Action
his brother
has no
Stephen,
season.
Action Has No Season. Yeah.
Okay.
And Michael Roberts and his brother were the first Black billionaires. And you got what you? How wild is that I bring that up and you got the?
I get every book mentioned.
Oh,
I didn't know you had it with you.
I know that's weird that it just happened to be right here. I'm at the
That's
library. I was like, I'm gonna read it later.
that's wild. Yeah. So, but Mike and his brother were the first two billionaire brothers, as they call themselves, out of St. Louis. But he tells a great story about how he'll never retire. And I still remember I met his dad, and his dad was like 93 or 94 and was still moving around. And I was like, dude, why are you always talking about you'll never retire? He said, if a lion retires today, tomorrow he's his brother's lunch. So I'm going to work till I can't work anymore. And I thought that was interesting because if you're doing what you love, you just keep doing it. It doesn't feel like work. So speaking is one of those things that you can do forever. Les Brown, when I saw him speaking in August, and I bring him up because he's like the Michael Jordan of speaking.
right.
And he's 80. He just when I met him in August, he was 79, and then he had an 80th birthday later in the year, but he's still on stage, right?
Yeah,
Because
I
you
was
can,
so encouraged by some of the mature people because I'm 56. And one of my things has been, God, when are you going to open these doors? I feel like I've been in such a season of preparation, but just lacking those opportunities. So I love what you guys have done in the hub, and my goal is to explore and take advantage of those features and do the work, like you said. That's what it's the hard work, and I'm up for the task.
yeah, we're here for you. So
Thank
sorry
you.
that we stressed you out with the goal setting thing
No.
yesterday and sent you to the hospital.
It'll be a humorous story to tell in the future, but no, I'm here. And prayerfully, this is just something of just trying to get the medication where it needs to be. High blood pressure is familial, and we'll get over it.
Oh yeah, no, it's all good.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that you're doing well and you're recovering. I've never
Thank
written down a number so big that my blood pressure went up, but she wrote down her goal was so big. She said, "Holy crap!"
It's pretty big. It is pretty big. I do have to say that. But you'll be
So
proud of me one of these days,
oh,
okay?
I'm already proud of you already, right? I'm proud of anyone of all of you and the ability to take action and to know what you want and to know the direction you're trying to go in. Courage isn't taking the first step when you see all of the steps. Courage is taking the first step when you don't see the next step. And
Wow.
that's really what we have to do. We don't have it all figured out. Our job here is to be a guide in your story. We're not the superstar of your story. We're not competing with you in your story. We're just the guide that can get you from not having an appointment or a speaking gig to having a speaking gig. After that, you have to, someone else will guide you to the next things, right? But we're the guide on this part of that journey, right? And that's how we see it. So we want to help you to be courageous because we've been down that path before. And after that, take it to the moon. Somebody's gonna need your help. So, what did you do? And you're gonna have to tell them, hey, it was this. I followed these steps, and it'll be a mixture of things that we can reflect back on the course that you paid the $15,000 for, and you'll say, oh, there was a gem in there that I didn't think about.
That's
Right?
true. That's true.
And so I want you to, even though that money may feel, you may not have gotten an ROI just yet. Sometimes certain investments, when you put money into a 401k, you can't touch it until you're 65, right?
Right.
But that don't mean that you were making a mistake by putting the money into that 401k, because you never know when you're gonna have to go back and get something out of it. So, I always like to keep it positive. Like, I don't want to poop on someone's coaching program or things, but there were things that I didn't value until down the road because I wasn't ready for it yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well, I
so
certainly appreciate your availability and your accessibility, and I'm going to let others have an opportunity to chime in.
oh yeah, no, that's
And I'll
cool.
be
Yeah.
on some of the, yeah. Mhm.
Yep. So we're here. Bart, I saw you put your hand up. Did you put your hand down?
No, I wasn't going to say anything that's really relevant aside from Denise. So she's talking about where she is in her condition. I'm like, okay, half the people in here are like, hey, hit me up, girl. I can help you out. I saw Janique was looking at her like, oh, I got her.
No, but I think that's the great thing about community is that you feel so much better about yourself when you cheer for others. And I don't think people realize that. In our selfish world, it's always a look at me thing. But I love cheering for others. Like, I know Karen is on here. Karen got her first conference booked from her pitches, and I think it's incredible that we can cheer for other people because it shows us what's possible. So I know some of the other folks on the call, they haven't booked any conferences because they haven't even pitched any with SpeakerHUB just yet. But Karen has proved that they do book you from conferences from the pitches, despite what everyone else may be saying or what you've heard from other folks. Again, we teach things that get results. So, Karen, if you want to share about the conference that you're going to be speaking at, I know you put it into the ambassadors group, but I would appreciate knowing a little bit more about that.
Yes. I can't remember when I pitched that. It took a couple of months, but I pitched it, found out about the conference through SpeakerHUB, used the AI generated email, only changed it a little bit because I think it's just one word in there that it keeps using over and over again that I really hate. And so edited that word out and sent it off. And the conference founder was aware of me, had heard of me. And so it was helpful. But I did connect with her through SpeakerHUB. There was no previous intimacy between she and I, other than she had heard of me just as a speaker because she is a event conference organizer. And as someone who hosts conferences myself, I know that's what we do. We try to familiarize ourselves with speakers. And so got on a call with her. She asked me about some ideas about what I wanted to speak about, told me the conference theme, which is Rise and Thrive. I sent out, when we were talking about 3 different ways that I can approach the theme, and I could kind of hear her elevating out of her seat with each one. And so she said, I think I want that we kind of settled on one theme. And I sent over some objectives and a speech summary. She also threw in a workshop in addition to the speech. And so I will be able to generate sales from the back of the room and keep 100%. They don't do any rev share or anything like that, which I thought was awesome. And so it's a good experience. It's a 1-day conference, but they do have a VIP session the Friday before for people who upgraded their tickets to VIP. And so I will come in early to make sure that I am part of that VIP session. And they literally go all day and all night. They have VIP private sessions for their high ticket sales individuals. And so we signed the contract. I signed the speaker contract. We agreed on the amount. She sent me the hotel information and we're booked. And so that's going to be In March, and I was particularly looking for things in March because of Women's History Month. And I thought that would be a good way to tie things in with, I have a female leadership community as well as I'm a leadership strategist, and it was Women's History Month. But ironically, when I sent that email to her, I didn't mention Women's History Month, but it all worked out. And so, yeah, I'm excited. I am negotiating with a couple of more conferences that are further along. One is in August, and that's in California. I'm actually here in Virginia. And then another one is in Las Vegas, and that is the second quarter as well. And so, I'm a fan. I do the work. I mean, I've been churning out pitches left and right, day and night. I think I sent out about 700 last month or something like that. And I've done a ton of podcast recordings. You know, it just takes a while before they edit and get ready and all that stuff. But I think I've done like 10 or 11 podcasts. I have about another 7 or 8 on deck, already scheduled. So yeah, I'm very pleased with the program. I'm very intentional and strategic in how I use it, as well as trying to benefit from the knowledge that is shared with these calls, because I'm a whole package person. So it's not just the program, it's the cause, it's the community. It's a combination of all three that I think that will make this whole experience more powerful for me. And so that's why even though I'm sitting here in my office, that's why I make sure I try to get on to these calls and any other gatherings that we have, because I think it is, you know, that 1, 2, 3 punch. You have to use all of the resources that are offered to you and maximize it. I'm also going to be utilizing the QR code on my podcast. I've already set up a few of those just for the podcast so that I can track them in relation to the podcast and who sees me from the podcast. And so, yeah, I'm using everything that you put out there, Ron. I'm on it.
No, that's cool. I think that I love to share these stories. I love to hear results because it shows that it's possible, right? And all I need is a little hope. I don't need a lot. I just need to know somebody that had oxygen in their lungs did it. And you know, I believe in equal rights, meaning that we all have the equal civil rights to do whatever we want to do. It should be an equal playing field. But I always believe that those who don't believe in equal work end up with an advantage, because we can all be equal. But if I outwork you, I'm going to win, right? So a lot of times it just comes down to, hey, this person didn't take advantage of the opportunity to outwork the other person. So high five to Karen for sending 700 pictures, which is a lot, you know, but that's what it takes to get what she wants, right? She didn't have 3 conferences booked by mistake or 17 podcasts recorded or whatever other things she may have in the hopper. It didn't come by mistake. Here's the great thing about work, really quickly. Work is something that you can condense time. And that's what most people don't know. So we used to, back when I had an agency, people would say, I just want to send 100 a month to see how it's going to work. And I say, okay, if you want us to reach out to 100 people a month, pay us for the whole year and I'll send them all this month. And they like, huh? I said, well, 100 a month, you're delaying 12 months of something that we could do this month. And they were like, oh, I didn't think about that. So we would send 1,000. We would reach out to 1,000 people. They would get excited. I said, now imagine if we only did 100. The ones that you got from the 800 to 900 section of the pitch, right? You would have waited till October for those, right? So work is something that you can use to condense time, right? And go faster because there's no limit. You know, I remember being kicked out of a company because I used that advantage. When I was a financial advisor, every Monday you had to go and write your numbers on the board of how many phone calls you made. And the standard for our company was 40 phone calls a day. You had to make 40. And I said, dude, like, I ain't got no meetings. I can just call all day. So I would call 200 because I ain't have no meetings. I was new. Well, nobody taking financial advice from a 20-year-old dude. So I'm like, I can just call people all day. And then one of my coworkers, he says, I'm gonna hire an assistant. Do you want to share? I don't need her full time. Can you use her for 20 hours a week? I'm like, I got a little bit of money. How much she charging? He told me, he split it. So now not only am I calling for 4 hours a day in the morning, she was calling for 4 hours a day. Do you know them idiots at the job place told me I couldn't have an assistant? They said you can't hire nobody because you're making everybody else look bad because you're not just putting your numbers up, you're putting your numbers up with the other person's numbers. So that's not fair. These aren't calls that you're making by yourself. I said, dude, this is our own business. They have the right to use their money to hire whoever they want to hire to have them to go faster. Can you all imagine if Ann, who has her 3 people that are normally in the meetings, if I said, hey, Ann, you can't use your team people, we're not going to put you on the leaderboard because Jadika sent her own pitches. Jadika would be like, don't be acting like I'm some chump. Hey, Jadika said, yeah, she has her 3 people, but don't make it look like I'm disabled because she has more people doing it. Jadika's doing what works for her goals. Does that make sense? So I didn't think it was fair for the way I was treated back then, where they were like, "Oh, because you used your resources differently than everyone else, we're gonna make you feel bad about it." Heck no. Go as hard as you can and win by any means necessary that is not illegal. Right? So Karen, high five to you. High five to everyone else who's out here kicking ass and taking names, because that's what life's about. You only got one shot. I was talking to one of my best friends the other day, and I said, "Man, I'm closer to 60 than I am to 30," and that was tough for me to realize. I'm like, "Holy crap! I remember being 30. I can't imagine being 60." And he was like, "Dude, that's crazy." And I'm like, "Yeah, so I really only got about 10 years of hard work left." And in my mind, I'm thinking, "Holy smokes! Like I got to make intentional decisions." I can't make like, oh, I got time. No, not my dreams are big enough that I need more time. I heard someone say something really quickly, and then we'll get back into today. They asked him, they said, what's knowing what your dreams are, if you had one regret, what would it be? And his regret was, I only get to do this thing called life once. Because I knew if I had more time, I could do bigger things. Now this guy's in his 30s saying this. Right? He's 31 and he said, I wish I had more time. Right? So we don't know. The great thing about life is that we know we have now. We don't know if we have next. We don't know if we have the next hour, the next day, the next week, the next month. So take advantage of the now. Right? If we knew when that deadline was, we would behave differently. So we're going to get into the goals conversation, but I'm going to show you something that I use that I think my friends think is weird, but it's helped me out a lot. And I'm going to try to share my screen and show this with you. But this thing here is something I think that can help you to take advantage of the now. And I know this wasn't planned, but I want to share it with you because I think it's important. Right, so I'm going to share, see if it works. iPhone via AirPlay, choose Zoom. Let me see if I can do this. And let me know if you all can see my screen here. One second. So I want to share this app that I use that has been a real game changer for me. But I think you all would some people may find perspective in it and be like, yo, I would love to use this app. So let me see. All right. Let me know when you can see my screen. All right, can you all see my screen here now?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So you see that app there, right? So you can see on some of my goals, they kind of backwards, like this one. I ain't gonna make that one. I'm 368 days behind on that one, right? But I have a revenue goal for SpeakerHUB, right? I got how many days left in 2024. I use this countdown thing, right? But I put my 80th birthday in there to make me take advantage of now. Because when you start seeing them days going down every day, you're like, man, I can't be wasting no time. Because it's literally the clock that's ticking down on your life, right? And then I have my 50th birthday there in 2028. Now, I use this countdown timer, which is a reverse goals timer, to make sure that I'm focused on now, not next. So I don't know if you all have ever thought about using something like that, but it's called Countdown. And it's a great way to make you focus on, shoot, this is my January goal. I only got 28 days left, right? Or this is my first quarter goal. I've already lost 3 of those 90 days that are in the first quarter, right? And you start to think about things a whole lot differently, right? One of the things we did on our team was that we took our annual goal and we divided it by the number of days in this year. And it instantly added urgency to our team at SpeakerHUB, because I was telling them, hey, every day that you delay on this is how much money we lose as a company if we don't get this feature out. And they were like, oh, we never thought of it that way. Now everybody is moving with this urgency of deadline towards that particular goal. Yeah, Countdown is the name of the app. So I want to go into something that will help you, because I think we kind of got caught up yesterday on one part of the goal setting. But I want to bring up this thing that I worked on after our call. And it was really, really, really helpful. 1 second here. It was really helpful in me thinking about how you can think through that second part of what we were talking about. So most people already know their number of what they're trying to go towards. Hey, I want to make this amount of money, right? And we started to look at the product mix and then the other stuff. I went a little bit deeper into that, being a nerd yesterday during our call. After our call, I had another meeting with someone where we just continued this conversation. So I put it here and I wanted to clean it up. So when we think about our goal setting, we got to think about, how do we deliver our message? And there's three things we're going to talk about. Actually, well, 3 things there, but there's 5 steps to this whole thing, right? And the modality is, how do you deliver the message, right? So you have your message. This is my how to get booked on, how to get booked and make yourself make a living as a speaker, right? So I can deliver my messages virtual, I can deliver my messages live, and I can deliver my message via media. Make sense? Whether it's written, print, whatever. Virtual, live, or via media. But depending on which modality I'm presenting my message, I need to know what types of products fit for that modality. I met with someone yesterday and she says, well, I've done a bunch of podcasts and I never got any speaking gigs for being on podcasts. Well, she has the wrong modality for the product that she's trying to get. Does that make sense? You don't go on a podcast to get speaking gigs. You go on a podcast to sell your products, but then you use the recording of the podcast afterwards to send as examples of you giving the talk. You're not getting interviewed on a podcast hoping that event planners are listening to book you. If that happens, high five, but that ain't the intent. Does that make sense? So I'm going to share this doc with you all because I wanted to show which products should you be offering in each modality. Is this valuable? So if you're doing a virtual event, you should probably be offering products for individual clients, right? So what's a virtual event? An online course, interactive coaching programs, membership models, challenges, webinars. Those are virtual events that you can participate in where you're not there with the people, right? Live events. That's how you can deliver your message live. Corporate trainings, workshops, conferences, leadership retreats, speaking events, post-event support. You remember Karen talked about pre-event. She says they're going to be the conference, but then there's going to be this day beforehand. That's a pre-event opportunity for her to go make some relationships at that live opportunity. Even though it's not her part being on stage, there's a pre, which is her showing up to the VIP dinner, and then there's a post with her table in the back of the room. Is this making sense? Yes or no? Okay, I can't see y'all, so y'all gotta say something.
Makes
Okay.
sense.
All right. And media. Why do we push media? Because media is a reinforcement of your credibility. I'm going to pick on Karen again. Karen said this person had already heard about me. Well, they hadn't heard her speak live. They had to hear her already on podcast or see her in some magazine or maybe heard some other media that she had already put out and forgotten about. But they knew who she was. So the media is for reinforcement of reinforcement of your credibility. There are three authority builders. First person authority builders are what you say about yourself. Nobody believes it. Second party authority builders are what your customers say about you. Those are the hardest to get, but the most impactful because they've actually worked with you. Right? But they're the hardest to get. If you don't have speaking gigs, you got to find some way to get that credibility, to get that speaker reel. That's why we talk about doing the podcasting and associations. But you got to find a way to get that second party authority builder. And then the other one is what we call a third party authority builder, where someone vets you, they make sure that you are who you say you are, and then they bring you on and they introduce you to other people. That's going on a podcast, being featured in an article, those types of things. Is that fair? So we're trying to show you how you can do all of these things, go on the podcast, getting a live event, going to pre-event, having your post-event sales, right? But what if the person who's booking you already knew about you because they heard about you from your media that you've been doing to reinforce who you are, right? Karen, what she talked about today was all three of these, right? So what we put next to it is what products you should be offering. Well, here's some ideas for those who haven't filled out their full goals. Here's some of the ideas of what you can offer to individual clients. Books, audiobooks, courses, interactive coaching, whether it's automated, one-on-one, text message, in a group, however you want to do it. Masterminds. Masterminds don't have to be a long time. It's just, mastermind is just a fancy word for group coaching, right? So, heard someone change the name of group coaching. They had a different term for it. I'm gonna think of it. I'll tell you what it was. But they didn't. They called it semi-private, right? So instead of calling it group coaching, they called it semi-private coaching. Sounds so much better, right? Than group, because it's semi-private. It's a few people in the room. We're all gonna be working on it together, right? But those are some of the different things you can offer to individuals. But when you're going to be doing certain things, you're going to sometimes need to be able to dog whistle your group opportunities, right? Hey, when I go give this talk, I got to mention, I'll give you a great example. Someone, Janika was a great example of this. She said she never used to mention what she did at the beginning of her talks. But she brought up the dog whistle ahead of time in her podcast interview. The people heard it and they went and they bought her product. A dog whistle is where you mention something indirectly that doesn't stop the flow of what you're doing, but it allows you to brag about something else you're doing. Right? Now, all of you all here know that I used to run an agency and I talk about it all the time, but there's no way for you to buy it on SpeakerHUB. Y'all notice that? But I have to bring it up every once in a while because somebody will hop in and say, man, I'm thinking about, I thought about hiring somebody. Y'all, I hear y'all always mention it's done for you. Can you reach out to me? That's why I do it. because that needs to be sold individually. You can't just go put in a credit card to buy that. Right? Do you remember Ann asked that? Ann said, "Yo, can y'all reach out to me about the done for you thing?" So that's called the dog whistle, where you give examples of results that you've gotten for a client or something in a certain particular area. I was doing consulting or I was doing a workshop. They're like, "Oh, she offer workshops. Oh, she do private consulting. Oh, she do one-on-one coaching calls." You just drop it into your little speech and they hear it. The person who needs it hears it. But you ain't bragging. You ain't advertising, but it is. Does that make sense? It's like, I was talking to someone yesterday. I'll tell you another story. They were like, "Man, how do you get so many people to follow you and send you messages on LinkedIn when you go on podcasts?" So I got one little trick. And this is cheating, right? Everybody should do this on a podcast. When you give your call to action, you have a resource. When you bring up that resource, say, "Hey, if you want that resource, just hit me up on LinkedIn. I'm sure the host will put my LinkedIn in the show notes." Now they have no idea you're gonna say that, but but it puts them on the spot and it forces them to put your LinkedIn in the show notes. If not, the people gonna hit him up and say, "Hey, he said the LinkedIn was in the show notes. Can you give me his LinkedIn?" But that's an easy way to get what you want where you want it to be. Hey, the resource, I'm sure the host will put the resource to my book in the show notes. So just click the link below and what they gonna do? Well, I ain't putting your thing. They not gonna do that to you. They can't embarrass themselves, but I ain't putting your link in the show notes. Why are you telling them that? They're not gonna do that. But that's how I get people to hit me up on LinkedIn. Hey, find me on LinkedIn. I'm sure they'll put the link in the notes somewhere where you can just click on it and go to my LinkedIn page. And they're like, "I know this little sucker didn't just he didn't just sneak his link into my podcast episode." So back to what we were doing here. So this product matrix, right? So now that we know the different types of products that you can have, depending on who you're talking to, well, who are the audiences that you're talking to? And when we think about our customers, we have three people in the audience. There's the three people that are customers. There's the audience, the people who are actually I got this wrong. Wait a minute. There's the owner, not audience. Right? So the first person is the owner. I put that in there wrong. It's supposed to be owner, not audience. The owner, right? Now, let me tell you who the owner is. The owner is the person who decided to hire you, right? When you give your message, there's the beneficiary of the message. That's the person who hears it and is going to act on it. Does that make sense, Jasmine? So the people who benefit from your message usually may not be the ones who paid you to get there, or they may not be the ones who invited you to come to the event. They're just the ones that get the benefit from your being there. Okay. The event planner, if it's a corporate event, they're the owner. They're the one who invited you. They're owning the responsibility of your success and your failure. And the payer is the corporation. Do you see what I mean? So if you get invited to speak at Netflix, it's the person who invited you. It ain't coming out of their check to pay you. They're just the owner of the responsibility that invited you. The employees are the beneficiary, but Netflix is the payer. Sometimes those roles can overlap. We brought in a consultant that helped us to put on the Pro Speaker Summit. I was the owner and the payer and the beneficiary. My team were just beneficiaries, but I had to take responsibility for inviting the person and I had to pay them. You see how? So depending on who you're reaching out to, if you're talking to teens like Darren Franklin, the teens in the audience are just the beneficiaries. They're not paying him to come. Does that make sense? The school district is paying. The principal invited him. He's the owner. Or the counselor invited him in to come talk. If it's a university, it's the same thing. The student services department at the university is paying for it. The head of academic student services is the person who invited you to speak, but the students are the beneficiaries. So we got to work and make sure that we're talking to the right people about the right things.
Yeah.
So when you're talking to the owner, the person who's bringing you in, you got to talk about what the beneficiary is going to get. So when I go on a podcast, I don't really care what the podcast host wants. I got to talk to him about what his audience is going to get from me. When they come on, I'm gonna give them 3 months of free, SpeakerHUB for free, and I'm gonna give them this, and I'm gonna give. He like, heck yeah, that makes me look good. Now I look like the man. I look like I know the guy at SpeakerHUB that can make all this stuff happen. Heck yeah, let's do it. Right? Because I'm thinking of the beneficiary and how that's gonna make the owner look. Is this? Come on now. I mean, if I'm, that is gems. Like, I don't think y'all understand how important that is because we talk to the wrong people all the time.
True.
We get someone on the call and they say, I need to talk to my boss. When they say that, what are they saying? I'm the owner, but I ain't the beneficiary. I'm the one paying for this thing. Everybody that has a partner has always dealt with that. Hey, yo, I need to talk to my wife before I buy this SpeakerHUB thing because I don't want her to be mad at me that I took $5,000 out of my thing and I bought this coaching program or something. We've all had to check in with somebody or to get confirmation from somebody at some point in our lives. But if we don't recognize that, story time. Someone reached out to me and they said, hey, I'm teaching people how to build their YouTube, how to get 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. And I said, okay, that's cool. He was like, man, I think you would really benefit from it. The way you teach and you talk and you do things, I think you could benefit from the course. And I said, okay, I understand what you're saying. We have someone on our team who already does our YouTube stuff. Talk to her, and if she wants it, he was like, no, but I think it's better for you. All right, man, I'm not, leave us alone. I told him who would be the beneficiary and the owner of this thing. I'm just the payer. I can't be rude to Raymar, who already understands YouTube, and she knows it better than me. So I got to say, Raymar, is this something that's beneficial to you? If I buy it and it's something that's beneath her, now she's insulted. Why are you giving me this low-level training? I already know this stuff. But now I can't get my money back from him. Right? So who benefits from that? Nobody. Right? Right? So he missed the opportunity because he was trying to sell to the payer instead of selling to the person who had to take responsibility for us getting it, which was the owner, which was Raymar. Now, our entire company would have benefited from it, but it wasn't my decision to make. It was, I trust Raymar. I hired her to make all YouTube decisions. She tells me what to pay for. So when you're making your pitches, understand who you're talking to. At SpeakerHUB, all the data that we give you for conferences is the person who's in charge of that conference. Now, let me give you a high level why this thing is so important. With the who do you talk to? Watch this. When you see this, you're gonna say, "Holy smokes!" This makes a lot of sense now because I'm going to show you a feature that's been in front of you that you just never thought about using it that way because you may not have had the context. Let me see if I can get in. Google is acting goofy for some reason. All right, here we go. So when you're going to pitch an association, the associations is the only section in our database where you will find duplicates of people from the same organization. It's the only, you see this here? 2 different people. American baseball coaches. We got Zach and we got Juan. Juan is over marketing. Zach is over conventions. two different positions. Why do we put them there? Because if I'm reaching out to Zach, I'm talking about speaking at his thing, right? But if I want to talk about something marketing where we can partner on it together, Zach ain't gonna make that decision. It's gonna be Juan in the marketing department about that. If I'm coming in talking about how they can better market overall, and I don't want to advertise at their convention, I want them as a customer. I'm going to Juan. But if I'm trying to advertise to other people and I want to put up a booth and I want to speak at their conference to their other beneficiaries, I may talk to Zach, because Zach is over the conferences that's going to bring in all of their clients that I'll be speaking in front of. This is a big freaking deal. Because if you're talking to the wrong person about the wrong thing, they're going to put you off. Number one question we get is, why is it when we reach out, we always start with the first question, are you the person in charge? Because I don't want you pitching the wrong person. Let me show you what I'm talking about. If I come in here and I find a conference, I go to filters and I go down to conferences and I pitch this Reuters event. The first line is always, hey, are you the right person? I want to make sure that ain't changed because I need the person that's going to make this decision. Are you looking for speakers? That's why we start with that first line. Because if it's not the right person, they're going to say, no, you need to talk to this person. Is this making sense? Because I don't want to put that all the way down at the bottom. Because if they're the wrong person, when I start talking about collaboration and all that, they're like, why are you talking to me about that? I ain't even the person to make that decision. He ain't even aware that I'm the wrong person. But at least if I started off that way, they can instantly make the decision. They ain't got to read the rest of the email. They can just point me where I need to go. No, that's this person that makes that decision. I'm looping them in on the reply. Is this fair? Now does that make sense? Why I'm talking about who's the owner, the payer, and the beneficiary? You got to know the difference between those two people, because when you go to pitch, whether it's a sponsorship, whether it's working together on something, whether it's coming in to speak, whether it's consulting, you need to know who you're talking to. Because the wrong pitch to the wrong person will make you feel like you did something wrong. Like your product isn't valuable. No, you was just trying to sell lipstick to pigs. Pigs don't like lipstick. They like mud. Right? So here are some of the other things that you can add that people aren't thinking about. Right? So whenever you're doing hybrid experiences, like hey, I'm gonna come and I'm gonna do I'm gonna use Karen again. She ended up getting a speaking gig and a workshop. That's a hybrid experience. She got the speaking gig and it ended up being a workshop on the side. That workshop may be virtual. So she may go speak live, and then the workshop is 2 weeks later, where she don't have to come and stay a week there, but she gonna do it over Zoom. I'm making this up, but it may be true. That's how it can work sometimes. You're gonna do these virtual workshops on top of just your normal thing, right? Some of the new technology out now allows you to kind of track your progress. I think coaching going forward will be more accountable. I can't make this promise and then not have people hold me accountable to what I'm promising. Another great thing, when you're offering workshops and things of that sort, give people a certificate at the end saying that they went through your training. What makes the CPA, the Certified Public Accounting Group, the authority on whether people become accountants? They call themselves the authority. They are humans just like we are. But they set up a difficult criteria and said, if you meet this standard, here it is. And people recognize that standard. And then they got the government involved to make sure, right? But it all started off with somebody saying, I'm going to set the standard of what this means. I'm a Maxwell certified coach. Yeah, because they decided to give a certificate at the end of the Maxwell certified coach. You could also become a Jack Canfield certified person or an Amazon bestseller. That's a certification. New York Times bestseller. That's a certification. They made the criteria of what makes that list. So with your programs, be sure to give them some reward or some award saying, I went through the Jasmine Dennis training. That means something. CrossFit was invented. They put that title CrossFit, and you got to pay to use to be a CrossFit certified gym, right? And then the other thing is what we talked about already that Karen was a great example of, pre and post event opportunities, right? Don't be ashamed to ask, hey, can I do a pre-event meetup with your VIPs, or can I host a post-event opportunity with your VIPs? Huge, huge. Okay, questions. We got 5 minutes to go, but is this helpful?
Absolutely.
Questions?
Few questions from the chat. So Jasmine
Melissa,
asked,
good to see you.
Can you share that document like you did last time? Just
Of
put it in the
course,
chat.
of course. This is one
And,
of our new frameworks. So I'm going to share with you all here. You get it here first because you're here. But we also,
Melissa,
we're going to be turning this into a framework. Maria didn't even know that, but now Maria, you see, that's our new framework, is about the different product mixes. That's there in the chat for everyone. You can view. All you have to do is make a copy so you can edit it for yourself. But that's a rough copy of what eventually Angel and Maria will turn into beautiful frameworks over the next couple of weeks. Daryl, what's your question?
Hi, everyone. I have a question. My bio, after speaking with you during our, chat, I added in other things about myself so that I'm not just pitching to podcasts, for teachers, educators, or what have you. So now, so when the AI generates an email for me, is there any way that I can separate so that I can have emails for when I'm pitching for anybody? Because I just talk about general women's wellness, as opposed to when when I want to be on your podcast to talk about teacher wellness.
Yep. So here's one of the great things about it. Two things that are happening. One, we're adding multiple profiles. That's a feature that's coming out very soon where I can be an accountant, a doctor, a lawyer, whatever, and I can pitch based on that. So you could have a leadership talk pitch, you can have a skill development pitch, and you can have a money making pitch. We talk about those three areas, right? Yeah. So you'll be able to have multiple bios.
Okay.
So that the same way that you can go in and you can tune the AI, where we say make it longer or whatever, you'll be able to change the AI to pitch from this profile.
Okay.
Right. So that's coming. That's something we've been working on for 2 months. We're just trying to put it all in perspective to make sure that it functions where it's not clumsy to use. Right.
Yeah,
we don't want it to be hard to use. But yeah, that's a huge priority for January for us.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Ron,
Any other
Melissa,
questions?
Melissa
Comments,
has a
concerns?
few product questions. She asked, about uploading her own contacts. Does the AI scrape info from the URLs, and how much info does she need to include for the AI to generate a good email? That's one question. And then the second question is about the scheduling of her emails still aren't going through. And Maria already contacted development about that.
Okay, perfect. Who asked the question? I didn't hear the name.
This is Melissa.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So when you upload your opportunities, there's an area that says description. So if you have a description of what the opportunity is, be sure to select that in the selection box. So let me share this with you here.
I was curious though, Ron, if I did do that. So what happened was, this is the first time I've done this, and I got a reply from a contact that I contacted, and they said, here are the two people to contact. This is the person for, I don't know, the West, the Southwest and the South, and this is the person for Europe and the West and blah 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 blah. And so I took those people's, email and names, and I uploaded them, and then I realized, oh, there's all this other information that when I walked through the steps, I saw that all the other information that could be inputted. And so I, went through it again, and um, I went to the website and I grabbed a description and I grabbed the URL, but I wasn't sure if I had only input the URL, would the AI grab a description from the website, or does it require me to input the description?
Right. So we think it's better if the more information you can give the system, the better off it is. The less the algorithm has to work to go and get that information, right? So a lot of it is using context clues. So just let me show you the fields. So you can manually enter a person here.
Oh, how do I
Right.
even get to that?
Right? So when you're here, you can click upload, and this will let you upload a CSV file if you got 50, 100 people. But if you just got 2, we always put these little arrows for design reasons where you click there and we say, oh, what's that? This is like our little more button. And it says add manually. So when you click add manually, now I can come in and I can just enter one person, right? And I can put in the company name would be Netflix, right? And Ron at Netflix, right? And then I'm reaching out to Ron's story. He is the DJ at Netflix, right? And my job title is head of entertainment. And, they're in the movie business, whatever. www.netflix.com, right? And where do I work? Netflix, right? And then description. Netflix helps people to waste time and not be bored, right? And it's in the USA and Illinois and East St. Louis, right? So now I don't need to add another one. That's the only one I need. Upload that lead. Boom, there's my Netflix. We even went and got the logo. You see how quick that was? I didn't upload that logo, but we went and got the logo from the website. That's magic. Y'all better give us our credit. This is incredible. Right? So now if I want to reach out to Ron at Netflix, right, I can come over here. It's going to write the email. It's going to take in that I help people to get bored and all of that stuff. But you see, we already went to the website, right? And in 15 seconds, it's going to write the pitch. Right? Given your platform has global reach and dedication to groundbreaking content. Right? So this is what you can do with the lead upload, whether it's an individual lead like Melissa's saying, or it's a group of leads that you may have purchased from someplace else. You can upload them. We will do our best to find and verify those leads, right? To make sure that you're reaching out to the right people. Right? If I don't like what it's saying, I can always rewrite it. Daryl, this is where the bio thing, where you can choose the bio, will be here. If you want to change the bio, it's going to be down in this area. Maria, if that's not true, please don't let me lie to these people. But that's why I think it's going to be. Maria can come in and tell us how we're going to fix that. But I think it should be here in this rewriting part where they can change their bio. And you can see it now. I just changed it to make it shorter, right? But this is what we're doing. Did that answer your question, Melissa?
Yeah, that's really helpful. Thank you.
Good. So guys, we're 2 minutes into overtime. I know I promised you I'll be here an hour every day, in which I am. But if you want to stay, we can stay. I got another 30 minutes before my next meeting. I just wanted to make sure that, I'm helping you all in the best way possible. Any other questions about that document? Because that document is a game changer, because you got to know who you're talking to, right? And if you're talking to the right person in the right way, usually some magic happens, right? But congratulations, Melissa, on getting responses. Any other updates that you want to share? Anyone else want to
Oh
share
yeah,
their other wins?
I've got 3 calls this week, booked this week or next week.
Wow, that's incredible. That's a big deal. Always push for the meeting, guys. Don't try to sell via email. You want to get them on a call so that you can have the conversation about and let them really get to know you. You want them to make it hard to reject the person, not the person sending the email. There's a big difference.
Ron, I have an update for you.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
What I want to say is that I had not been pitching, but the reason being is because of that, when I got that overload of being on the lead board and all. But what I want to say is I finally, as we stepped into January, got my system in place on how to be able to pitch and do follow-ups. I've structured a system for me now. I cleaned up all of the ones that needed to be archived or not responsive. That was such a relief yesterday to say, I finally have cleaned my site up. And I did what you asked. I went and posted for association. I was just vaguely doing it, but I did not realize that I had did the few I thought I was doing, put me up on the lead board. Because I was down at the bottom with 0, and all of a sudden when was closing out, I said, "Oh, what?" But I did do the associations this time, and so now I have a structured system in place on when to do follow-ups, when to do podcasts, and when to do associations. So since I am a one-person operation, I have to make it stress-free. So I got the system in place.
So I got a question. You want to show everybody your system on Monday? Would you mind sharing it? Or I don't know if it's private, but you want to share how you do it? Because some other folks will probably love the shortcut. If you've already figured it out.
I'll put it together. It's me and Notepad, and
that's okay.
That's how we work it. But yeah, I'll share what I do. I'll do that.
You want to do that on Monday?
I can do that on Monday.
Okay. Yeah, and you don't need to be 10 to 15 minutes. You don't need
to
be that long.
It's real brief because of how I do it, and it has started working for me because for me I have to have a structured kind of system so I can see what's going on. Otherwise, it gets so overwhelming for me. So I had to put my structure in place. And now that I have it, I've fine-tuned it. And so it'll help me to be that company of one doing my speaker business.
Let me tell you something. There is no shame in that at all. And the reason why I made the juxtaposition between you and Ann is because some people aren't proud of getting it done. They think that they need all of this extra organization. Ann just has a whole nother business she has to run, and she already got the people at her company that had some free time to do it, right? She reallocated her resources. So everybody has to do it their way. I want to make sure, Janika, you are doing it the right way because that works for you, right? So there's no one group isn't better than the other. I just want to let everybody know everybody's welcome. If you want to bring 100 people on here, bring them. If you want to do it by yourself, do it by yourself. We're going to help both of you. We're going to help both groups. So Melissa, what was your question? And then we'll go to Jasmine.
Yeah, so I've had a number of replies, some of which are, the application period is closed, but follow up with us, be sure to track our LinkedIn page or, whatever. And, the next time to apply is not going to be till, November or December or something like that, whatever. So I'm curious about what people's processes are for follow-up, or somebody's replied and now I've moved them to the replied tab inside SpeakerHUB, but I still need to keep tabs on them outside of SpeakerHUB. So I do have a CRM, but I don't have good processes in place. I'm not a really good systems person. So this is where I need to, get really good at that side of things. So I'm curious about how other people are handling that.
Okay, so I'll go ahead, Bart. I'll let
So
you go, and then I'll tell you
I
what I
would
would do.
share, yeah, those things came in a lot for me in the beginning. And if the application phase wasn't open now, I put it on my calendar. So because I'm looking at that every day. So whenever that pops up in March to submit for a conference, it's not going to be until even January 2026. I put it on my calendar. So that was my method because I know I'm looking at my calendar every day. And then some of them provided a link to get a notification from the organization. In fact, since we've been on this, I received a notification that the submission, page is open. So I mean, I guess that would be the two different ways. If it's send you a link, obviously you need to apply, get the link, you get the update, and trust that it'll happen, and still put it on your calendar. But the calendar way is what I've done because I didn't follow Ron's guidance in the beginning. I was like a kid in a candy store, and it was like, come. Okay, so as a result of doing it in November and December, I hit a lot of them. I was connecting with a lot of them where their conference is not until the fall. There's different periods, and some not even until 2026 because again, I was a kid in the candy store hitting buttons, and I was reaching out to ones that happened in the winter. So now I have to wait till next winter, 2026, for the actual conference. But I submit, like June, July, August, September.
So there's two types of replies, right? The first reply is, we've already closed submission for this event. What do you say to them? Thank you. Quick question. Do you have a list of backup speakers just in case something happens? I would love to be considered. Also, if you have other events throughout the year, please keep me in mind. Here's a link to my speaker reel or whatever, so that you can just build that relationship, that you're not just waiting for this one home run conference. Because you're probably willing to do a workshop. You're probably willing to do a virtual event. You're probably willing to do some consulting or something else. I was able to get myself booked for a TED Talk, but COVID canceled it by reaching out to a TEDx that was going on in February. I reached out to it in January. I knew it was closed, but I just wanted to prove a point. And I said, hey, can I be a backup speaker just in case if someone can't make it? And they were like, oh, we didn't even think about that. And I said, yeah, put me as the backup speaker. She went through my thing. She says, yeah, we'll put you down as a backup, but you definitely could do the one in May because they were doing a second event in May. You could definitely, we got you. If you don't end up being the backup, you will speak at the one in May, right? But if I didn't keep that opportunity open and let them know that I was thinking about how do I help them and look out in their best interest, I would have missed that opportunity. So that's my reply for events that are already set up, right? For those that haven't happened yet, if I'm a bit early and they say, hey, we'll notify you when speaker submissions open up, cool. I go and I look for that person on LinkedIn, right? I'm gonna go look for them on LinkedIn. I'm gonna add them on LinkedIn, right? And then now they're gonna be able to see me throughout those next few weeks. I'm gonna be posting stuff showing I do what I said I was doing. LinkedIn, when you make a new friend, they show you all your new friend stuff right away, right? Then I do what Bart said, set up my notifications to apply and to follow up in the future. Does that make sense? Those are the two options. If it's already happened, ask to be a backup or about alternative events. If it hasn't happened yet, follow them on LinkedIn, thank them, add the notifications or whatever. And then as soon as that thing open up and you apply, send them an email. Say, hey, I got the notification. Just want to let you know I already submitted my application. Right? Let me tell you what people do. People get the notification. They see, oh, the thing opens up. The deadline is March. I'll get to it in March. About to be first, player. You about to see me first. Right? And then I'm going to send you a reminder, like, I sent it in. So that's what I would do. That would be my advice on follow-up. If the event is already booked or if I'm a bit ahead, right? Any other questions?
Yes.
Yep.
I sort of have a system where my pitches and my follow-ups are, dedicate a certain time of the day for pitches, a certain time of the day for follow-ups, right? But I was kind of surprised because I'm getting responses right away. I don't expect to get responses like on the dot, right? So I'm constantly working and giving information to those that requested. I have a recording with a doctor on the 9th. Do you have any suggestion for that? After she read, I think she wanted to know if I had a book. I said, I have a couple of ebooks. And I sent her one and she says, great. So they've booked the recording for January 9th, to record that podcast. Now, any suggestions? I know I have to go and do some detailed prep work for that recording. Apart from the prep work that I have to do, basically listen to some of her podcasts, and what else would you suggest that I do for that?
Regarding what?
Regarding the sense that, okay, there's a recording, right? Basically, I have to touch base with them because this is, okay, we're set up to record.
Is this your first podcast recording?
Pardon me?
Is this your first podcast recording?
Yeah, this is my, yeah. This
Okay,
is
so you're nervous. I
mean,
get it
officially, not usually. No, I don't have nerves. You know me. I'm not
it's okay. Nervous. It's okay. We all get it. I'm like, well, she like,
yeah, I work for the heavyweight champion of the world. I'm not nervous.
No, I got it. I got it.
I'm just... But what I want to do, I'm professional. 100%. And I be caught off guard. And there are protocols for everything you do.
So you know what I would do? I'll tell you something that's really cool, right? Here's another cheat code, right? So you can come into pull up your chat GPT, right? And when you go into chat GPT, put in your bio, right? I'm Ron Story Jr. Or because I know it knows who I am, I'm just gonna put on my own bio. Who is Ron Story Jr., right? And right, so there it is. It brings up who I am in ChatGPT, right? And then I'm going to find a podcast. Let's pick one out of SpeakerHUB. Here, let me just go get a podcast. Let me find one that's relevant to me. Well, actually, I want to find one that's not relevant to me, right? This is about baseball. I don't want that. All right, here we go, right? Matt Abrams, right? I'm just going to copy that bio out. I'm going to be a guest on the following podcast. Here is a description. Please give me some suggested topics that would be good for their audience. Put a colon there. Boom. Right? So I look through these, boom, 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 and then I see one that I know. Speaker Flywheel. Yep, we're going to talk about this one. I know that one better than all these. Right? But it gives me the flywheel in the frame of his audience. Do you see what I mean? It didn't talk about it as a speaker. It talked about how to use the flywheel as a communicator. You see how that cheats? This is huge, guys. This is part of what we're going to be doing with frameworks. That's how I knew to go to this. Because once you click booked with our frameworks, it's going to give you suggestions about what you should talk about based on your bio and the bio of the thing. So this is coming. It will be built in. When you move something in the book, it's going to automatically do this. Right? So this is part of our frameworks part that's coming in the next month or so.
That's fantastic. Now,
do you see how it automatically took my bio, took that podcast, and gave me what I should talk about in the perspective of that particular podcast?
Yeah.
This is cheating. Like, this is totally cheating. You will be the best podcast guest ever, right? Watch this. And then I can say, I'm going to use the one on the flywheel. what is something I can use as a lead magnet for listeners to give away to listeners, right? Boom. Gives me different ideas of what I can give
Wow.
away.
Wow. I like that. I like the template. Because like you say, you
Right?
go on there, you've got to utilize it to the best of your abilities, right?
Yeah. So now I'm going to pick one of these, right? So outbound pitching template pack, or momentum tracker worksheet, or mini training video. I can make any of these. A visual one-page document explaining the flywheel concept and its leverage. Cool. We already got that, so I ain't even got to create nothing special. Boom, use what I already got.
Yeah. I think I think
But
that
is this making
asking,
sense? Now, wait,
yes,
wait, 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 wait,
absolutely.
wait, 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 wait. When you get this PDF, what do? You take it over to your SpeakerHUB, and you come over into leads, and you go to Speaker QR, right? Or you can click over it over here. You go to Speaker QR, and you create your QR code. When you create your code, it's going to ask you about the download, and you put that download in this resource link so that when you go on that podcast and you say, look, here's how you get it, boom.
Wow.
That makes sense. Now, I know what y'all saying. Well, but it's a podcast. How they gonna see the QR code? You think we ain't thought through that? We already thought through that. They got a thing called show notes. So we just give you the link. Give them the link to put in the show notes.
Oh,
So now you get your reviews from the podcast listeners. Does
back
this
up
make
there,
sense?
back up there on, back up. Let's do that again with the QR code. I
Okay.
like that.
So when you click on your name on the right, you're gonna see settings, team, speaker QR.
Yes.
When you click on Speaker QR, it's going to bring up all of the codes that you have. Right now, I have two, but I can create a new one. And I can say Jasmine Podcast,
Mm-hmm.
right? And what's the event? January appearance,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can make it whatever. And I want to give away my little PDF. I put that link in there. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
And then I want to be special. I'm going to take my phone and I'm going to record. Hey guys, thanks for checking me out on Jasmine Dennis podcast. Download the link below. That's where you'll find out a little bit about the speaker flywheel that I mentioned during the interview. Let me know if there's anything else I can help you with. Be sure to follow me on LinkedIn, and I look forward to helping you. Boom. Now I put my video in there. So now everybody who goes to that, they get the download and they get a thank you for me. You're going to be unstoppable.
Mm.
Does that make
So
sense?
in the case where I would have my ebook as
You would put
my,
that here.
so just put the link for that there
Yep.
in the QR code.
Yep. We give you all the instructions. Thank the reviewers with the resource that matters. Upload your guide, chapter, or workbook they can easily download. Toggle this switch to the right to add a personal touch with your video, or let SpeakerHUB Pro's default video do the work. Well, our default video is going to say, hey, you want to be a speaker? Join SpeakerHUB. Here's a free trial. If you don't want them to see that, you had better put your face in there and say, hey, I'm Bart. Thanks for downloading my book or watching the preview to my movie.
Mm-hmm.
You see that? But that's when you put that YouTube video in there, the link to that. Got it? And if your
Yeah.
favorite color is purple, change it to purple.
And it's as easy as that, and you get your QR code.
Get your QR code, right? Once that's done, you're ready to go. So I can save that QR code. So Jasmine, take your phone, Well, actually, we don't even need to use the phone because it's on a podcast. So we're just going to give them that link. And you put that link in there. Boom. How was Ron's presentation? This is what they're going to see on their phone. They put in, what was my rating? Blah, blah, blah. Needs to beatbox more, right? John Q. Let's put Ron Story Jr. at iCloud, right? Now we send that, right? Let me make sure. Oh, I didn't give it a rating. Give it a 5 stars. Boom. Now, there's the video. This is where your video shows up, guys. And this is where you can thank them and tell them they can take one of your other workout things or whatever. But this is where they download the book. Claim reward is where where they can download it. Make sense? Right? So if I click there, it's going to bring up the document. This is my book. Opens it up for them to be able to download it. Make sense? Now, let me show you. What does this look like? Let's go back into SpeakerHUB. We go back over here. I go into my leads. Click on Speaker QR. Guess what I got? I got something from John Q. Where is it from? It's from my January podcast appearance. I click on it. I can see Jasmine from that podcast. They said I need to beatbox more. That's okay. I'm going to reach out to John, add him to the list. I'm going to send him a pitch. Now I can follow up with him, thank him, or whatever I want to do. So it's going to bring that comment into the pitch, thank him for his rating and everything. Give it 2 more seconds. There it is. Thanks for attending my recent event and for your positive feedback as well as your 5-star rating. I'm delighted to hear that you enjoyed the presentation. I appreciate your suggestion on incorporating more beatboxing. Guys, how do you beat this?
Wow. Good thing I asked.
Right? This is Speaker QR. It's the best in the industry. It's the top of the line version of lead generation. You can use it on podcast. You can use it on any event. You can use it to give away whatever you want. You can do as many as you want. Right?
Because it gives you that link, right?
Yep. So you end up with a gang of them. Like you see, I got 3 of them now. Make sense?
Yeah.
Thoughts, feedback. Huge, huge, huge. Because here's what's going to happen. We're making the transition of the old SpeakerHUB to merge them together. So those comments, they will be on your public old on your SpeakerHUB profile. You got to make it easier for you to be event planner insurance. So I want all types of replies about my message. Is it any different if you heard me talk about getting booked live or getting booked on a podcast? If I'm teaching a speaker flywheel on both, it's the same thing. So my podcast appearance comments should be on my speaker page too, because the live stage ain't my only platform. I speak at all platforms. Your comment is about me. How you received it, the message is up to you. But that's what we're trying to push. We're saying we want you presented in your best light at all times. Feedback is the breakfast of champions. I need to know the good and the bad. Make sense? Is this helpful, guys? This is a good session today, man. If you take them frameworks and you start using that QR on your podcast, give them that link. They're like, yo, I just want a link so they can give me a review. They're like, really? Yeah, give me. Just keep this link down. I want to review. Go ahead, Janika. Okay, I saw you put your hand. Okay. But yeah, we want the reviews. Like, we got to get them reviews. That's a
So you
huge
can
thing.
actually tell the podcast hosts that you're going to put a review link down there.
No, you ask them to put it. Because
You
they
ask
usually
them to
ask you, do you have a link to a website or something like that? And you say, you just tell them, yeah, I want to, instead of a link to my website, I would love to be able to give them the download. And here's what the download is.
To the book.
To the book or whatever else you're going to be giving them.
Okay.
Right? Because you got to be able to get
me
leads.
after they read, they wanted to see if I've written a book, and they booked me for the recording after I've sent them that ebook.
Yeah, but they may want you to give that book to the audience, or you may want to give it to the audience. So you would put it in your SpeakerHUB thing and put it there. Make sense? So then when they give you a review, again, it's look, how much does a review cost? Nothing. So, but it's how valuable is a review? See, we can go into price, cost, and value. I can teach that again. The cost of a review is nothing. The value of the review is incredible. To get 5 stars and a comment and the ability to reach out to build that relationship, bananas. It's cheating. Got it? It's cheating. It is cheating. Here, I think I have Anthony hopping
15th
in.
is a meeting for that corporation in Toronto that's been around for 30 years. That's an in-person meeting, which I'm good at. I don't mind in-person meeting. So that's on the 15th.
No, that's pretty cool. Anthony, how's it going? Ron Story here. This is our normal daily 12 o'clock meeting. I know we have a meeting at 1:30. Was it questions about SpeakerHUB profile, or was it something personal? I think you're muted.
Were you asking me, Ron?
Yeah, yep.
Oh yeah. Well, it was something personal, but I think we could probably do it here. It's probably questions that other people have.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah. Thanks. Happy New Year's, everyone. Hope everyone.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Yeah. I'm looking back at my email because that's where my thoughts are. Yeah. So one of the things I've been playing around with the 7-day trial, and I was curious about how it seems like the back end data of the client is hidden. So you get the name of a conference, you sometimes get a name, but you don't get an email address, and all of the communication is handled through SpeakerHUB. Is there a way for us to get the back end data, or is it to be kept?
Well, the reason why we don't show the data, because then we've had people that have tried to scrape the database in the past.
Okay.
Right. So if we just put all the emails there, then it kills the credit system that we use.
Yeah.
Right. And then we have people that just sign up for the 7-day trial, try to take all 4 million of our data points. And we're like, that's not a very smart business model.
No, it's not. Yeah, I think the challenge for me with it, and to be candid, when I think about other comparative sort of offers from other people out there, some of this is like you don't get a no from a conference, you get a not now. And so then how do you maintain like how do I keep in touch with them? I get work from people that I first contacted back in 2021, and it's because I keep nurturing that relationship. And I know that you have a follow-up piece in there, but maybe you can speak to that.
Yep. So basically, we were just talking about this with Melissa. How do you follow up? So every email that's sent from SpeakerHUB Pro is sent from your personal email account. So it's in your Gmail inbox or your Microsoft inbox, right? And even after you, even if you decide not to use SpeakerHUB anymore, we don't turn off your mailbox. You can still log in to see the pictures that you sent in the past.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
So if you sent 100 pictures and you wanted to log in someday and see those 100 to see who you sent, we still give you access to that. We just don't let you send it anymore.
Okay. And I'm not trying to scrape your database by any means, but would I have the back end? If I go into my Outlook or into my Outbox, would I be able to see those outgoing emails?
Yeah, you see, it's no different than if you know, when we use the same protocol when you have an iPhone and you use the Apple Mail application.
Yep.
You can send an email from there, but when you log into your Gmail, everything is still in your Gmail or your Microsoft anyway. We're using the same protocol.
Okay. And then the next two questions really play together, and is there a way to filter people that are known to pay speakers? in your filtering situation in your filters within Speaker Pro. I don't see it in there.
Yep. So, and we actually took it off of SpeakerHUB, the regular SpeakerHUB also. And the reason being is because I believe that everybody pays. And here's why I believe that. It's up to the speaker to decide how they will get paid, whether it's before the event, during the event. So, like before the event means they wrote you a $5,000 check to show up. During the event is they allowed you to sell from the stage or from the back of the room or in a pre-event dinner or something like that. And then after the event is like when you go on a podcast, they don't pay you to show up. They're not paying you to record it, but you get clients afterwards because they hear the podcast over the next 2 years and they DM you on LinkedIn saying, hey, I'd love to talk to you, right? So I'm a firm believer that event planners are not honest and they have no reason to be, I shouldn't say honest. They have no reason to be transparent with speakers because they're hiring you for a job. The same way when you apply for a job, most jobs are going to let you negotiate your fee for working there. And if they can get you for less than what they had budgeted, they're going to get you for less. Does that make sense? So we're a firm believer that you should push for the meeting and prove to them why they should pay you. And if they say we don't have that much in the budget, then you have a decision to make. But it wasn't that they didn't want you. Now it's just a price issue. So one of our lifetime members, his name is Jamar. And Jamar talked about this, where he says, look, I usually charge $10,000. And, but I got on a meeting with the guy. They said their budget was only $3,500 for me to come speak. But he was able to talk him up to $6,000. Right? So $10,000 is what he wanted. $3,500 is all they had, but they settled on $6,000 because when he got on the phone with them, he showed them that he was who he said he was, right? Like it came through that they weren't going to be wasting their money on it, right? So he ended up negotiating something that ended up, I think in that case, he went in as the speaker, but he ended up being the host. So it eliminated 2 jobs so that he can get the $6,000.
Okay.
But if you're not on the call, you're not able to negotiate those things.
Sorry if I'm not following you on is that the B in the BDA?
Yeah, that's before getting paid beforehand.
Okay.
Right.
So okay, that was the part, and that segued between the question that I had for you.
Yeah, most speakers only know how to get paid before an event.
Yeah.
Right. But the best speakers get paid before, during, or before and after, or during and after. Right. Like I never get paid to show up. Right. But I make a heck of a lot of money from the stage.
Right.
I did a speech for NSA back in August, and we ended up with, I think, 200 or so trials of our software from that. So it's really up to the speaker to determine that. But here's my litmus test. If you reached out to any organization in the US right now, and you said, hey, Donald Trump wants to come talk at your conference this year, I promise you they will find $1 million to pay him.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because they know they can sell the tickets to make $2 million off of his appearance there. So it's our job as speakers to convince them why they should give us the money that we're asking for.
Yeah.
Make sense?
It does. Yeah. Thanks for explaining all that.
Yep. Any other questions?
I feel like I'm dominating the time.
No. This is our hour. We do it from 12 until 1, and then we just went into overtime. And I kind of knew this was a customer support question.
Oh, great.
You can just ask. You could ask people here if what we do works. They'll tell you whether they're wasting their time or if they're getting responses.
Okay.
Feel free. You're not going to embarrass me, man.
All that really helped. And then the follow-up question is, I do think that I'd be curious about, you have a do it for you kind of program, right? Where people will go in and you said that it's emotionless, right? They just go in and they do the number of pitches for you. Yep. I didn't see that program pricing. I couldn't find that.
That's funny. We just talked about that other meeting today, how we talk about it in the way that it's working. So you can see, guys, that the funnel that we use is working. It's exactly as I mentioned. So to give you a little background.
Wait, am I having a funnel? I hate being in funnels. I'm kidding.
No, just joking. But the way that we talk about it is that is a service that we don't publicly allow people to sign up for because we want them to ask us.
Okay.
If you ask about it, you're probably more serious than the person I'm just curious about the price.
Yep.
Right. So I would love to talk about that with you if you want.
Sure.
It's really simple. It's $3 per pitch that we send.
Okay.
Because we'll go through and find the right ones and get that right for you. And it's a minimum 500 pitches over a 6-month commitment. Right. So it's $1,500 a month for 6 months. You pay the first and the last month in the first month. Month 1 and 6 is paid up front. Then you pay 2, 3, 4, 5. You don't pay 6. Make sense? So it's $3,000 up front and then 4 months of 1,500. And we do everything for you. We find the podcast, we do all of the outreach, the conferences, everything. And that includes follow-ups. So it's just not the first pitch. It's the first pitch and follow-ups to those.
Yep.
Right? So, that's pretty standard what we do. Yeah, most people after they use the system enough, they're like, I can just do this myself. I'm not giving them $1,500. And I'm okay with that. That's perfect. That means that the software is good because we're just going to do the same thing you're already doing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. For me, and maybe for other people on the call, it's the differentiation between my time, which I'm trying not to put, I try to put selectively towards this, and then my virtual assistant time versus what I'd be paying y'all to do it as virtual.
Yeah. I mean, we would probably be the same cost as your virtual assistant. What we found is that those who have an assistant already, they're probably not using all of the hours that they're paying for. So to squeeze an extra 30 minutes in a day for them to go in and send 15, 20 pitches for you, it's money you're already spending. It's just time that we're just plugging a hole in the leaky bucket of time that may be leaking out. So I can give you the structure if you want of how to get your virtual assistant to do it. Make it the first thing they do when they first get to work. So if they start every day at 8 o'clock, from 8 to 8:30, they're pitching and it's done.
Yep.
And then they can be as leaky as they want in the rest of the day. But when someone gets to work, their most focused time is that first 30 minutes anyway. So they can hop in the 30 minutes, send the 20 pitches, and then get to the other stuff they need to do for you. The people who've done it the wrong way is they say, I gave it to my assistant, but they didn't schedule a time or they didn't make it the first thing so that it's knocked out automatically.
Yeah.
Got it?
That was the emotionless piece that I thought you talked about really well.
Yeah, I promise you, your staff will be emotionless. They will try to run through those pitches as soon as possible so they can move on to doing something else.
I'm emotionless when I do it.
Oh, there you go. See, you too. That's it.
I don't know if that's
it's just
a good
a numbers game. It just comes down to the numbers. It really just comes down to work. And you learn from the work that you do, and then you improve your processes and your pitches accordingly. So,
yeah.
But hey, guys, any other questions?
I'm just going to run. My vacation is over.
Cool. Any other questions for anyone else? No? Cool. Well, hey, guys, I appreciate you all taking the time. Anthony, thanks for being open and transparent and willing to share your questions with everyone else. Any comments or from anyone to encourage Anthony to keep going? I don't know. Welcome. I don't know what else to say.
I think we have one word, maybe it's a two, maybe it's hyphenated, but it's just a game changer, period. Whether you do it or the VA does it. I mean, that's why we're a game changer. I mean, and every day there's something new and different, which is why I get on here every day. I'm going to learn at least one thing, if not 4 or 5 things. But more importantly, the system works. You're going to get results. Yeah. And then the work you put in, you're going to reap rewards from the work. It's just that. It's that simple, almost unbelievable. So that's it. That's my testimonial.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anthony, your team is always welcome to come to the 12 o'clock calls every day. Usually on our calls, I think some of them are on vacation, but some of our other clients, their team members come in and they pitch during the call because they know it's a set time every day at 12 o'clock. So this is their norm. We call it co-working for that reason. So this is when people usually come in and they'll pitch. They may not have their camera turned on. They may be chilling in the background, but they're pitching while we're talking and answering questions. Makes sense? So your staff is always welcome to come on these calls to ask questions or just pitch. You can make this their scheduled time to pitch every day.
Great.
Got it? All right, guys. I'm tired. All right, y'all. I'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.
Bye.